A very beautiful morning to all of you out there. It's been a raining day, and I know that a lot of us may be affected by the rain as we go to our various offices. My name is Dikpo Banjo. Welcome to Crossfire with Dikpo and Ishoma. Ishoma is here. And all right, Ishoma, let's have you on the show.
Good morning, everybody.
Now, a lot of people.
It's beautiful to be here.
A lot of people will be wondering, maybe he's alone on the show again, you know, and all of that, because I keep making up for your absence on the show. Ishoma is not here today. Ishoma is not here, but Ishoma is fully back now.
Exactly. You know, the power of the dramatic entrance. I was hoping like, oh, should I do a dramatic entrance? But nah.
All right. Good morning once again, and just take it easy. It's raining out there. If you're driving, take it really very easy. And if you're in any commercial vehicle, just be careful and mind, you know, the fact that, you know, it's very wet and you should just take your time. I know a lot of people will be getting to their offices a bit late today, just like we're expecting one of our guests to join us any moment from now. Good morning once again. And as usual, we'll take you through a very short, information about all the stories that are making headlines. And first on my list, federal government to obey court order to publish names of treasury looters. Now, the federal government has announced plans to publish names of treasury looters as ordered by a federal high court in Lagos. Now, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, disclosed this to State House correspondent yesterday. Now, the judgment was delivered by Justice Adiza Rabiu Shagari following a Freedom of Information suit number brought by Social, Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. Sage comes hard on Saraki's Senate for threatening to impeach the acting president. Now, the threat to impeach acting president Yemi Osinbajo, if he fails to remove Ibrahim Magu of the EFCC, has pitched the Senate against some Nigerians as they accuse Bukola Saraki of planning to truncate the Nigerians' democracy. Now, the senator has said that that they will no longer confirm any appointee from the executive arm of government until Magu is removed. Now, the Nation reports that while blasting the Senate for its reaction, some of Nigerians said the Senate does not possess such powers to direct Osinbajo, who is only acting to remove Magu. More stories from Ishama.
Yes, more stories. Well, of course, further also as regards the drama between the legislative arm of government and the executive, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has assured that the fresh crisis brewing between the presidency and the upper chamber of the National Assembly will be resolved amicably. According to him, he did give the assurance yesterday when he briefed State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo. And in other stories, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on OPL 245 is set to invite former President Goodluck Jonathan to testify in the ongoing investigation over the Malibu oil deal. Chairman of the committee, Razak Atunwa, said its investigation into the OPL 245 saga was drawing to a close. Now, the committee chairman said evidence has been taken from the former president in the interest of thoroughness, natural justice, and fair play.
All right, the question we want to ask on the show today is to throw it out there, and we allow our guests in the studio to help us throw more light on it. What is wrong with our democracy? What exactly is wrong with all the arms of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm of government? We'll throw a bit of answers to some of these questions when we come back from this break. We'll be right back after now. Join us. All right, welcome once again, and thanks for staying with us. We have business to do today on the show, so we will not waste your time because we know you're seated out there and, just wanting to know exactly what our focus on our conversation today will be with. But quickly, we will take some comments on some of the stories making headlines, and then we go ahead to discuss the issue for today. There's a need for us to just have this understanding. Is it right for federal government to go ahead and respond to the court order to publish names of treasury looters? Now, there's a court of, there's a court, in Lagos, the Federal High Court in Lagos that eventually said a couple of things, about this matter. And we'll quickly be taking some comments from our guest. He's no other person but the general himself. He's not like a general in the military, It's no other person but our own general. He's general because he has information about almost everything.
Deep information.
And so, let's meet Dikpo Olayoku. Good to
morning,
have you on the
Thank
show
you for
again.
joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
We know it's been a raining day.
Viewers,
It's a lot of sacrifice.
Good morning. Yeah.
Thank you so
thank
much.
God. You just have to do it.
All right, good to have you here. All right, federal government to obey court order to publish names of treasury looters. A lot of people have, there's a lot of misgivings, or let me say mixed feelings about release the names, don't release the names. Let's go ahead and just collect, the looted fund and just allow them to go. But releasing the names of treasury looters in Nigeria, of what importance really and truly is it to our polity? And is it a plus or a minus having to go ahead and release, their names?
Yeah. It depends on what the effect is going to have on the government. Because if you don't appeal the judgment, that means you have to obey the judgment. Now, there's a need for us to ask ourselves this question. Why did the government, in the first instance, why did they decide to say, no, I'm going to keep the identity of these people confidential? Because perhaps there was an agreement. Yes, a lot of Nigerians, because of our experience from what corruption has done to us, we believe that we should, if I may use the language of Nigerians, we should shame them by letting us know them. And, the government is aware that because of the judicial system that we operate, it is almost impossible to get somebody who has run foul of the law to be adequately penalized by the law, because the type of law we operate presumes that the accused is innocent or is proven guilty, and it is believed that it's only the courts that can prove somebody guilty. Even if you are stealing my thing and I catch you, the belief is that you are not guilty until the court says so. And whereas in other lands, it is you that will prove that you are not guilty. Let me give you an instance. You are a salary earner on 18,000 naira per annum, and we are able to trace about 25 million naira into your account. Nigerian law believes that I am the one that will prove that that 25 million naira is a proceed of corruption. Whereas in other countries, it is you that will tell us that, oh, this 25 million naira is not a proceed of corruption, it is because of this and this. So that is why it has been almost impossible or difficult for government to get what we now call the conviction. So if the government was able to get some people who stole our money, and then there are evidences that, boy, you stole this money, and the guy said, okay, instead of going to court, because I know it's going to take a long time.
Do a plea bargain or something.
But unfortunately, the plea bargain we do in Nigeria is very hurtful and harmful. The plea bargaining we do in Nigeria is, okay, you have stolen 100 naira, return 20 naira, and keep 80 naira. That's the type of plea bargain. And plea bargain, in real essence, is not like that. It's supposed to inflict a pain on you. The only thing is that you are going to get lesser punishment. If you have stolen 100 naira, their plea bargain abroad is that you must pay the entire 100 naira. Then the penalty for stealing maybe is 2 years. We can say, okay, instead of going for 2 years, we go for 1 year. That is the real meaning of plea bargain. But plea bargain in Nigeria is very hurtful and harmful. So maybe that's why the government said, yes, we know the people we have taken to court. You know how many years it takes to get conviction. Look at some of those governors that left office in 2007. Some of them, their cases are still in court. Even they have not even reached substantive level. They are only talking about injunctions and frivolities. So if the government was able to get some people, okay, yes, instead of going into this long journey of prosecution, let me release money and then everybody keeps quiet. The danger in what the judgment has done is that it will be difficult for government to get some people to return money. Because if somebody has stolen, and he knows that if I release some of this money and you are going to reveal my identity, why don't I keep this money, just get 5 lancers, the matter will be in court for 100 years. After some time, everybody will forget about it.
But ideally, if we look at also issues of accountability, ideally in advanced crimes, the government is accountable to the people. Remember that these funds are also properties belonging to everybody, not just a certain class of the people. Secondly, also, as regards the anti-corruption war, it's been ridiculed over time as regards not being able to secure, valuable convictions. So don't you think this might also be a plus if the names are published? If those names are not tampered with, but if they are published adequately, don't you think it will also give the people some form of boost, and support, in terms of supporting the government to make sure that convictions are secured?
There's no support you can give outside the courtroom unless you get the courtroom to be up and doing. You can't get conviction. Because I will just give you an example. I caught you stealing my property. Red-handed, as they always say. The Nigerian law believes that you are not even guilty until a court says you are guilty. So even if 1,000 Nigerians say you are guilty and the court says you are not guilty, you cannot say you are not guilty. So that's why it's a very dangerous situation, because what it means is that those who are even thinking of returning some money might say, why should I have to return money and then they reveal my identity? When I can continue to say not guilty and I even at the level of no case submission, the possibility is that the judge will say, okay, he has no case to answer. It's a very
and the truth is that if you go ahead and release these names and eventually the court says that they are not guilty, then you have a problem, because, I mean, the individual or the personnel in question can sue you for defamation of character.
It depends on the type of agreement they signed at the point of returning that money. Because by returning that money is an acceptance of guilt.
Exactly.
So,
except if they're going to prove
that
duress.
That is worthy of conviction in itself, in the court of law.
Yeah, because the moment you
except if the element of duress
duress is okay, I was forced to return this money. Okay, just like in the
Even
case of...
it wasn't stolen.
Look at Olayoku. Olayoku, when the issue of 400 million naira came, the matter was dragging. He needed to travel for medical treatment, and the judge said, you aren't going to travel. And the guy said, okay, in that wise, let me just return some money. Matthew can claim that he returned the money under duress. So it's a very difficult and dicey situation.
But he eventually returned 400 million.
Yeah, but the matter has not been decided in court. Or if the judge eventually says he's not guilty, that means government will have to return the 400 million to him.
Okay, let's quickly take your comment on this. Anyway, this is going to form the basis of our discussion today. Let me go to another one. Now, Minister of Information assures crisis between executive and legislature will be resolved amicably. Do you see? I mean, this is going to really form, but for this particular story, do you think any form of amicability or a workability of a smooth relationship between the legislative arm of government and the executive?
Do you know one thing I like about the ruling class? They always like distracting our attentions. They always give us something to be chewing, while the real issue
is being covered up.
And at the same time, they always have a way of resolving their differences. And that is one thing I like about them.
Without getting us involved.
And that is why it has always been difficult for us, just like Ichama said, to penetrate them. Let me give you an instance. Before the 2007 elections, there was this furore over whether Atiku should contest or not. You know how Obasanjo fought tooth and nail to make sure Atiku did not contest election. Everybody started pitting, going either Atiku or Obasanjo way. All of a sudden, we woke up one morning to be greeted by reporting newspaper that Atiku went to Obasanjo the previous day to go and beg. And I was asking, did Atiku consult those people who were even threatening thunder and brimstone that if Obasanjo doesn't allow him to? Atiku didn't consult us. What he eventually, however, they became friends, they hugged, and that is the beauty of the ruling class. They know how to settle their differences. The problem is we, the people that they are oppressing. The moment we pitch tent, we will go to heaven or hell until we say no way. That's why these people, when they come in the open, let me give you an instance again. Before the 2015 election, the former governor of Akwa Ibom was on air telling us that Amechi, the former governor of Rivers, is a traitor, and they know what they do to traitor, what happened to Judas Iscariot and stuff like that. Immediately after the election results were announced, and Buhari was declared as the winner, they quickly convened the meeting of the Governors Forum. It was the same Akwa Ibom governor, former Akwa Ibom Akpabio, that raised the hand of Amechi, that all of them has now come under Amechi as their governor, as the chairman of NGF. That is the nature of Nigerian ruling class.
All right. It's really very appalling, to know that this is the way our policy is being run. Anyway, like I told us at the beginning of the show, we'll be discussing way forward, Nigeria way forward. Is it politics or policy? What exactly should our focus be on? We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll address some issues along this line. We'll be right back after that. Stay with us. All right, we're back, and thanks for staying with us. It's still Crossfire with Dikpo and Ishoma. While we're on that break, our second guest actually joined us, and we'll be having a conversation on, what we already, announced that we'll be discussing on the show today. He's no other person but a barrister, and he's a social and political analyst. And so we'll be taking his thoughts on some of our discussions this morning. Let's meet Barrister Ayoola. Julius,
thank you for joining us.
How you doing?
Welcome.
You look very dapper this morning. Like Ishoma said that if you are going to the court, maybe immediately after the show you are going to court or something and all of that. Anyway, it's a raining day, and we thank God because many of us are already doing what we're supposed to be doing. Now, gentlemen, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us as a person? Or what is wrong with our democracy? What is wrong with our chosen or desired government? When we had militocracy, we complained that this is not what we deserve. We did everything that we could to make sure that the military leaves. And when they left, we thought that, okay, this is going to mean well for us as a country. We felt that, okay, this is the time for us to move forward as a nation. And so in 1999, democracy became entrenched. They became the system of government. And up till now, looking back to 1999 to date, it's becoming really very sad that we actually voted for democracy. I really don't know what you guys, what your thought is on this question. But really, my question is, what is wrong with our democracy? And then we're going to be looking at what exactly is our choice in this democracy that we embraced and we voted for. Is it politics, like we see the war between the legislative arm of government and the judiciary? Or we need to concentrate on policy? Because politics seems to have the order of the day. It seems to be what is ruling us. And we can't see any way out of this. The general was actually assisting in saying one or two things before we went on that break. So I'm going to start from him so that we can establish his thought on this matter. What is wrong with our democracy, General?
I think everything is wrong with our democracy.
Okay. Do we have democracy?
Yes, at least if we look at where we are coming from. Some people believe we have civil rule anyway. And because if you look at all the parameters of democracy, I think they are lacking in what we have in this country now. But interestingly, we only, under the types of government we have, there's no government that they call civil rule. It's either militocracy or democracy. So let us assume that we are going to restrict ourselves to these cleavages. You see, one thing I think I have discovered about Nigeria is that when we are aiming at something, we always believe that thing is an end itself. We don't see it as a means to an end. And that is why we are in this situation. And unfortunately, we have not learned a lesson. And that is the same reason that is affecting the call for restructuring. Because when you listen to apostles of restructuring, they make it look as if if you restructure today, El Dorado comes the following day. So that eventually when we get to that restructuring, and we still continue with some of the problems, the patience is not there for Nigerians to say, oh, this thing is a means to an end. Because people already painted the picture that it is an end itself. The same thing with democracy. When many Nigerians, some of us who were going on the streets, some people lost their lives, some people were imprisoned, that no, the military must go. We failed to tell Nigerians that by the time we get to democracy, it's a means to an end. that it is not going to be El Dorado immediately. So eventually, when democracy came and some inadequacies were seen, and started talking again. Just like, let me also buttress with the point of what happened in the last 17, 18 years when we had PDP, and eventually APC came up with their campaign, and they were giving us impression that the moment they come in rather, that things will change. And so Nigerians believe that as from May 30, 2015, manners will begin to fall from heaven. So I think there's the need for Nigerians to get educated that, okay, when you are agitating for something, it is just a means to an end. I was listening to our dear friend, the leader of IPOP, that's Nnamdi Kanu. One interview I read last weekend, when he was talking about when Biafra comes, there's not going to be, and you begin to wonder, the picture he was painting, it's like heaven is going to come on earth. And so I think that is just the problem. Yes, we are having problems with our democracy. Some of these problems are expected, but unfortunately, some people are taking it beyond the ordinary. Before I conclude, just say something. Don't forget that our democracy is copied after the American democracy. And I remember that some years back, during the time of Clinton, the American government was shut down for 13 days because of the problem between the executive and legislature. For 13 days, the American government was not doing anything. So it is not a big deal if there's a problem between executive and legislature. I think the only
But don't you think a big deal comes in when it stays for long? This has been on since exception.
No, the government has not shut down.
Well, the economy is shutting down.
No, but is it possible? Is it possible, General?
Yeah.
Is it possible to actually have a scenario where this government is shut down? I mean, where we have, because the only thing I can see from the body language of the legislators, especially the upper chamber, there's every tendency that what they want to do is to shut down not just the presidency, not just the executive arm of government, but to really shut down.
Shut down and probably take over.
It's a sort of muscle flexing. You see, those who came up with a presidential system of government have made it very, very clear. You have the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. The only problem can come when one arm is trying to perform the function of the other. But like I said, it's just a way of the ruling class distracting us, diverting our attention. And by the time they're going to resolve it, what we only pray, maybe like Ishoma said, is that they don't allow it to get to a point. You can imagine an American government shutting down for 13 days. You know the ripple effects that across the globe.
Of course.
And so I think maybe let Barrister.
All right, before I take Barrister Ayoola's comment, we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, we're going to start from him. And when he brings up his arguments and all of that, we surely will have a conversation. We'll be right back after now. Join us again. All right, do you know that today is actually the 6th of July, 2017? And it is a very remarkable and a memorable date in the history of this country. That was the day the Civil War started in Nigeria. And this was a war fought between the government of Nigeria and the secessionist state of Biafra. Now, Biafra represented the nationalist aspiration of the Igbo people, whose leadership felt that they could no longer coexist, with the northern-dominated federal government. And so, I mean, very remarkable date in history. And so we're still talking about, what exactly is wrong with the polity called Nigeria. And then the myriad of issues that is facing this country at the moment and at this point, in history. Gentlemen, Julius, let's take your thought. What is wrong with our democracy?
Well, a lot is wrong with our democracy. First and foremost, the major problem with our democracy is the people running it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, those who are in our parliament, let me put it that way, are not lovers of Nigerians. They are the enemies of Nigeria. Because all they are trying to do is to bottleneck and stifle the executive. The three organs of government are not designed to check and balance themselves just for the sake of fun. Because, no, we will not confirm you, we will confirm you. The idea of lawmaking, first and foremost, is rooted in morality. So that if you look at our constitution in section 4, it says they shall have power to make laws for the peace. The word peace means that whatever you do in making your laws, you must be morally inclined towards the interest of the people. The peace order. When you are making your laws, you must bear in mind the need to have law and order in Nigeria. What you have today now is a system where the legislature even have the effrontery asking that the acting president come to apologize. I don't know what to call it. This is the first time in my life that I'll be, reading on newspapers or on the social media that one organ of government is giving the other organ of government ultimatum to apologize. That's very, very unbecoming of them. Now, they don't have the prerogative to say we will not confirm any appointments because of what the acting president said.
Which has been termed his
And
opinion.
what did he say?
Yeah.
He said it is not every nomination that the Senate need to confirm. And that is true. It's constitutional. If you go to our constitution and you look at section 153, there are federal bodies that are created. These bodies are created and appointments are made subject to Senate's confirmation. But you have the Council of States, the Defense Council, and the Security Council. These three bodies do not require Senate confirmation. So if you said that it is not every appointment that requires your confirmation, that shouldn't be taken out of the blues if you are a serious-minded legislature.
Or they could have also proceeded
now,
at the Supreme
because
Court.
of what he said, you refuse to confirm appointment into these federal bodies. The law asking you to confirm did not say you should confirm based on one contingency. The word used there is shall. Shall means mandatory. If you feel that the president or the acting president on Magu's case has not done what you expect of him, in decent democracy, what do? You will go to court and ask for interpretation. Whether having rejected a nominee, that nominee can continue to hold office. You don't say, what they are doing now is self-help. And self-help is not strange to Nigerian democracy. Obasanjo just started it. When Lagos State created additional local governments, he single-handedly withheld allocations for the local government in Lagos State. That's self-help. You are not their elder brother. Everybody is to act according to the Constitution. So for me, the problem in Nigeria is that you have terrible people who are not seasoned, people that you cannot say this is their private life, this is what they have done before, running our government.
Could it be that they're putting their personal interest first?
I just said
Could it be personal
people
interest?
who do not understand the law. The first law is rooted in suprema laws salus populi, which means the welfare of the people must be the supreme law. If you say you will not confirm appointment of, what do you call them now? Resident commissioners, INEC people. What are you doing? It means you want to scuttle the government. The other day, Senator Abaribe said that Bukola Saraki should be referred to as the acting president because there's a vacuum. And I was very embarrassed. It simply means that he has never read our constitution. The vacuum contemplated that we warrant Saraki to become the acting president has never happened in Nigeria. For you to have such a scenario, it means either the president is dead or removed from office under Section 143, or he is no longer capable of performing the functions of his office. Acting president went to ECOWAS summit and you said there's a vacuum. Is that a vacuum? It simply means that what they have in their mind is terribly parochial. You have a legislature that will go and tinker with the budget of a ministry. These budgets are brought to you, they are defended. You can imagine a lot of energy that will go into preparing the budget.
So would you say...
And you call them to come and defend the budget. Having defended the budget, you now single-handedly...
So are you saying invariably that the legislative do not also have the power to amend the budget?
They don't have that power.
Just because they scrutinize.
They have
So does that mean what Femi Falana is saying is correct?
Right.
It's commonsensical.
Okay.
You don't prepare budget. Yours is to look at the budget and say, oh, we can't take this project now.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go and remove it.
Make a recommendation.
It's not for you.
No, I have a problem with that. No, I have a problem with that. And do you know the problem I have? Why on earth will a clause like that be even written in any document at all? That when the executive must have probably across the ministries come up with a template for the budget of a nation. It has to go through them. To do what? Is it for them to just rubber stamp it?
No.
Oh, okay, so what are
That's
they
supposed to be the
job?
oversight function.
The oversight function simply means they have to look through it and probably correct or
wherever their
amend,
job
insert,
their job
delete.
is to ask them, why do you need 40 million or 40 billion for that project? Explain to us so that I can go and tell Nigerians why we have to approve it.
Okay.
Having had the person, having taken your considerations, and you have told him, okay, you are free to go, we are comfortable with your...
Oh, they can now recommend and say 25 million can,
If you now
25 billion
feel-
can do it.
If you feel that a particular head of item is over-invoiced or is not well captured, you can make recommendations. Kindly come back and tell us why we should continue to stay with this thing you have said. So that at the end of the day, you have consensus added them between the ministries and the Senate. It's not just you passing the budget. After the budget goes back to the ministry and they are so flabbergasted. What is borehole doing here? I didn't discuss borehole with these guys.
That's true.
What is this one doing? It's very, very important. It's an infra dig. It's an insult to our democracy.
Now they started constituency program. Now,
Constituency project itself is unconstitutional. Lawmakers are not voted for to go and be doing projects.
Exactly.
when they actually canvas during the election that they are going to do this, they are going to...
That should come from their own pocket.
Let me tell you something.
It's not legal.
All I will say to Nigerians is that we should just pray and be very law abiding. We should tolerate these people
Until 2019.
until 2019. It will be a shame for any constituency to return any of these people in the parliament. If any one of them is returned, I tell you, it means Nigerians are hypocrites.
Now, but there's a considerable calmness, if you agree with me,
Yes, I agree.
at the lower chamber.
Look, the reason why you have...
At the lower chamber.
The reason you have that
yes.
calmness is because a lot of this appointment or confirmation
Do not get to them.
do not get to them. They are
Senate.
reserved for the
For the
Senate.
Senate.
If Magu, Buhari was here the last time President Buhari was in Nigeria, why did you not move an impeachment proceeding against him
Over Magu.
over Magu? Why are you bringing the issue of Magu? Because you have
An acting president.
an acting president. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And instead of you saying, oh, because you have not confirmed Magu, we will not confirm your appointment, why? What will you lose? They've been going to court. And this is not the first time in Nigeria we are having a face-off between organs of government.
Yeah.
As far as the time of Edu may say, okay, we have been having face-off. And what did they do at that time? They went to court.
Went to court.
That's why I said this current parliament are the enemies of Nigeria.
Okay, now, General, I need to ask you this question. What exactly is the way forward? Who deals with the legislative and their, the legislators and their excesses, especially the Senate? Who deals with them? How do we go about resolving? You see, because for all I care, I think we have the most ambitious set of senators in the history of democracy in Nigeria at the moment, in the 8th Assembly.
I was listening to a program yesterday, and the lady, and I keyed into what she said, that yes, we have been having problems with our Senate and the executive. At times to be the House of Reps and the executive. We all know the history of when they wanted to impeach Obasanjo. By that time, PDP dominated the National Assembly by 75 to 25%. We have already been having this. But you see, it becomes so worrisome and embarrassing today. And the lady said something, that have we looked at the composition of the Senate? many of them are ex-governors. It is that mentality of executive governor that they have carried into legislature. I said something in my closing remark, that the problem is an organ of the government wants to perform the function of the other organ. The barrister has just mentioned the issue of the budget. If you look at Section 81, it's very clear. He said the president shall cause to prepare. He didn't say legislation should prepare budget. The presidency shall cause to be prepared and laid before the National Assembly a budget. National Assembly cannot prepare budget. That is that. Then on the issue of the Magu or no Magu, they are performing the function of judiciary. Those who came up with separation of power has given each of the organs different powers. The lawmakers or legislature to make laws, executive to implement. Realizing that it is possible that there could be disagreement between the formulation and implementation. If there's any disagreement, the third arm of government will now step in. That is the judiciary. And that's exactly.
You have to take they won't just step in. You will.
No, that's what I'm saying. I said they have to take it to them.
If they are so sure of the law that they want to enforce, they are to initiate.
So why is this not
let me even land
by the executive?
Sorry, let me
conclude.
No, who should take the initiative? The legislative or the executive?
No, in the case of Magu, in the case of the budget, the executive said, no, we are going to go to court because we push something to you. What we turn to us is different. Yeah. Then the executive said, we are going to go to court. In the case of Magu, the acting president said, yes, the EFCC Act says you must appoint by. But if you look at Section 171, it says some of these positions the power to appoint is vested in the president. That's the opening of Section 171. Yeah. And then it goes into people.
Why? I'm coming. It's an act of the National Assembly.
No,
and to that extent, they have the right to confirm any appointment. You don't expect the Congress to spell out every appointment that we have in your country. That's why you have the.
No, but that is their statutory function.
The power to confirm for EFCC stems from where? Stems from an act of the National Assembly, which is the EFCC Act. If in the future you feel that it will be a problem if you have to send this guy to the National Assembly, make a move.
Repeal.
To have that section of the law amended. Yeah. Until that is done, I don't buy into the argument that because of Section 171, therefore the appointment is not required to be confirmed by the Senate. That is not the law. The law is that if the law setting up an agency makes provision for appointment to be confirmed by the Senate, that is the law. We should not read any other thing to it. Now, if that is not done, or the person is not confirmed, and you want to represent him, is not confirmed, what do? You go to court. You go to court.
So
it's very simple.
The question now is who should go to court.
But the issue
the
of
executive or the legislative.
Get my points, please. Get my drift. I am not supporting Magu to continue in office. It's unconstitutional for him to continue in office because he has not been confirmed. Now, that is not enough ground now for you to now say, if you cannot remove Magu, we'll suspend our functions under the Constitution. You have no, they have no privilege.
Which they're being paid for.
To suspend
taxpayers' money.
The performance of their functions under the Constitution. That in itself is a violation of the Constitution.
Okay, what empowers the legislative arm of government this much?
To do what?
To threaten the issue, the practically issued a threat. That is to the acting president. They act like there is no law governing them because
they don't have respect. They are behaving like Bohemians. It's even an insult to tell your president. Look, the acting president is the president of Nigeria.
Yes, of course.
To tell your president that you are giving him 48 hours. For God's sake, what are you doing? Are you some beach combo boys to come and do what? Even so, what dancers don't behave like that. 48 hours to come and apologize to who?
Now, is it impossible for the legislative arm of government to institute an impeachment process?
Look,
if they so desire, especially with the face-off between
by virtue of Section 143,
yeah,
they have the propriety to initiate impeachment proceedings. But they must bear in mind there are two legs in Section 143.
Yeah.
There must be a grave violation of the Constitution. And there must be an allegation laid before the person you want to impeach. So they are here to show us that violation that they are talking about in the Constitution. They are here to show us. If it is on Magu, in as much as Magu's powers, whether you like it or not, are administrative powers, although having flavor of, prosecutorial powers, you cannot use that alone as a ground to commence any impeachment proceeding. So that angle is foreclosed. If they are reasonable and they love Nigeria, all they have to do, I have said it again, I'm saying it again, is to go to court. I'm going to court, for instance. I'm going to challenge them in court. I'm going to file in court, challenging and asking from the court whether National Assembly has the power to change the budget that's defended before it. You get what I'm saying? We need to go to court over it. You can't just be doing it blanketly. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to challenge it in court. Whether you have the propriety to say, even if you have defended it, you are going to do borehole. You are complaining there is no power. The rules are bad. Somebody brought a budget showing you what he wants to do. You said he's complaining because he's not giving contract. That man came out and said, I have not awarded any single contract. I'm seeing through over 300 contracts that I met on ground. That's a serious-minded person. And I need to pay off contractors who have been working.
But now they're also saying the minister must go. Look, so do they have the power?
They don't have. That's why I tell you what you have in our. What we have is we have. What they are doing is legislative rascality.
Okay.
They arrogate too much power to
now,
themselves.
the power of recall. The power of recall is.
That's exactly. I wanted to answer.
Because we're coming there.
I wanted to answer Dikpo, because Dikpo asked how can we put them in check. Yes, the constitution is very, very clear. How do you put somebody in the executive in check, like the governor, the president, the power of impeachment given to the National Assembly or legislature? The judiciary, how do you put them in check? You have the NJC that can regulate his people. And that is why the Constitution has given us in that section 69. Yes, we might not have the patience to wait for 4 years to continue to witness what they are doing. That's why Constitution says, okay, you can recall a member of the legislature. Yes, the process is very cumbersome, but it is not difficult. It is not impossible to achieve. That's why some of us were laughing when the speaker, when the Senate president or the DSP was telling us that it is dead on arrival. You see, that one has given them that boldness to say we can do whatever we like, and then nothing is going to happen.
Now, let me ask you this question. Because of our time. Do you think there's any conspiracy theory playing out in our polity right now to truncate the nation's democracy? Would you think
like a civilian coup?
Like there's a process?
We already know what they have in mind. It appears that there are some set of elites who are part of the ruling class, not very comfortable with the acting president. He's too brilliant for them. They cannot match him. Here is someone who said, take this law back. I can't sign it. This law is a mumbo jumbo. Your sections are not well organized. You don't even go and do it. He's a law teacher for almost 40 years. Please take it back. I can't sign this. He didn't say the law is bad. He said, this thing is not well made out. Take it back. They are not comfortable with that kind of person. And they have one thing in mind, which is very they don't have the power of life and death. Only God can guarantee anybody's life. They are already thinking in their myopic mind that President Buhari will die. Yeah, they will come to the press and pray for him. They even organize prayer session for president. But in their minds, they are already making calculations that he's going to die. If he dies,
and could that be because they know that the acting president will redeem Nigeria? And
they know. They are not comfortable with someone who will not allow them to steal money. They are not comfortable with someone who will tell them, this constituency project we are doing, we have to stop it. It's not constitutional. They are not comfortable with someone that will say, let the law take its course. Therefore, this guy is not a ball player. He needs to go. That's why a senator of Nigeria, who has been there for a while, had the effrontery to say there's a vacuum. Therefore, the Senate president should be referred as the acting president. Which vacuum?
And it's a senator.
No, is there a way of saying Nigerians should also rally?
For him to even think like that,
Yeah.
That thinking is coming from somewhere. It's a sitting senator, for God's sake.
I was telling
that thinking that because you want to move a motion, that since there is no president, there's a vacuum.
Is it like a free ticket for ex-governors to become senators? It appears as if that is like
after 8 years.
Immediately after they leave power.
They will, because they have so much money. You see, for you to talk of, sorry sir, for you to talk of record, because we keep saying record can't work in Nigeria. The ex-governors, they have so much money, and with the level of poverty in Nigeria, they will control votes. Imagine an ex-governor earning the current salary of a governor. Imagine an ex-governor who is a senator also having that, the perks and all the emoluments attached to his,
all right, gentlemen.
He will control everybody with that money.
Yeah, gentlemen, we need to go. I just want to take your thoughts. Do you see any form of amicability, working out something that is going to be to the interest of the nation happen?
Interest of the nation, no. Because to these people, their interest is paramount.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they also have a tendency to always to preserve their interest. At a stage when they later discover that what is happening is going to affect their own interests, they might do
fight
some
against it.
rapprochement.
All right.
But the problem is the interest of the nation is very far from their hearts.
All right, this is how far we can go on Crossfire today. We wish that we have more time to really, elucidate and get more information from these gentlemen as they come. There is problem and it's looming, but let's be prayerful, let's be careful, and let us uphold this nation because Nigeria is greater than everybody. We'll go now, but we'll be back tomorrow with another very interesting episode. Do stay with us. God bless Nigeria, and bye for now.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.